Yes, good morning all. Good morning, patients. Can you hear us clearly? Good morning, Doreen. All right, Michael, should we give a few more participants a few more minutes or we should just move on?
I think we should give them 5 minutes.
All right. Good morning, patients. All right, Michael, with your permission, can I start?
Yes, I think we should carry on.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Thomas Kimani, and we are in the third module of our Introduction to Business Plans in the agricultural sector, hosted by COLEAD. And we've had two previous sessions, and I'll take a quick recap of what we did in those two sessions. The first one, we started with the foundations of why put together a business plan. And we looked at how to validate your business plan. We closely examined the process, the importance of having a valid business plan that will form the important foundation of, a good foundation of the business model which forms the platform for your business plan. So we went through how to validate the business model and how to validate the business model, and we eventually ended up with, if it is not valid, what to do. For those who attended the sessions, maybe any questions on that first session on validating your business model? Can I put out questions out there or exams, or I'll scare people away? Anyway, let's not get into that. So we looked at, once you validate your business model and you find that your business model is not valid, there are ways to go about getting out of that situation. And we were depending on the business model canvas, which had nine parts of it. And that's essentially the main tool we use to validate the business model. And if it is not validated, we understood we needed to do something called pivoting. But before we pivot, we needed information, credible information on what justifies our reason to pivot. Information sources have to be very credible. You don't want just any information sources, because it's an investment you're about to make into your business, and you have to minimize the risk aspects of it by validating the model. So the next session essentially covered what a business plan was. Good morning, Mr. Vincent. How are you?
Hey, good morning, Thomas. I'm super excellent. How are you today?
Fine. I finally managed to get you to speak.
But I always speak, Thomas. What's wrong with you?
Oh, my bad. I'm mixing you up with another Vincent.
Okay.
All right. I hope you're good wherever you are.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
sure.
Can I
the
jump
other
you with a
Vincent.
question? Somebody saying something?
Yeah, the other Vincent is from Malawi.
It's
Okay.
me. Me, I'm the
Oh,
Vincent
you.
from Malawi.
Oh,
It's
okay,
me.
okay.
Okay.
Morning, Vincent.
All right. That's Vincent for us. So, Vincent, as you're coming in, we're just recapping what we covered last time, and we are now going through a recap of the second session. What is a business plan? Because if you're working on something, you have to know essentially why you're working on it, what it is for. Anybody, just in your own words, what do they understand a business plan is? In your own words, nobody is wrong. Good morning, Margaret. Nice to see you again.
Good morning, Thomas.
All right. Essentially, a business plan is a solution overview, right? Whenever you're running a business, you're trying to create value for other people while you create value for yourself. So a business plan is essentially that roadmap towards that solution in a way that you have shown you have understood risks. And this is your business speaking to you as an entrepreneur, speaking to your key stakeholders, speaking to your customers. And most importantly, for many people, when they do a business plan, they are speaking to the potential financiers, the banks, the grant makers, and other people out there looking to invest in your business. So it has to be very clear. Speak very clearly to the ideas you have, the model you have validated. And what it does, it shows a summary, a summation of what the business is about, right? And then you measure. If you cannot measure, you don't know whether you're going forwards or backwards, right? And the whole idea is to move forwards with progress. The last thing it does is demonstrate the viability. When your idea is interrogated by people outside there, they look at it and say, is this a viable idea, or it is just a pie in the sky? But again, entrepreneurs are a special breed of people. I think sometimes entrepreneurs are a little crazy, because what they see ahead sometimes cannot be put in words. So the business plan is the closest thing to put the entrepreneur's insanity into a sane thing that other people can catch up with. And that's the special thing about entrepreneurs. So last time we also spoke about the sequence of the business plan. There are 10 key elements in the sequence. Is there anybody who would like to attempt to take us through the 10 key sections of the business plan? Michael, can you assist them?
Okay. Okay, using the resources we had, some of the sections of the business plan include the executive summary, the company description. I hope we are all aware of this if you've accessed the resources in the COLEAD link. We have market analysis, we have product description, marketing and sales plan, we have the organization and management plan, we have the operations plan, then the financial needs and projection, then the risk management plan, and then we conclude by putting the appendix. These are all the 10 sections of the business plan, and they can all be assessed, and you can get even more resources using the COLEAD link. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. We had also earlier sent out a template for a business plan. Did all of you get a hold of it? And if you did not, please get a hold of it, because we want to work something that you can take home, you can take to your business, so that your time here is worth what you have invested in time. So that one is available on the WhatsApp link. But if you don't have one, I think you can reach out to Michael and he can send you a copy of that, so that at least you have something to follow up with. So we went through the 10 key sections of a business plan and the sequence of how you feel, which is the last section we normally fill out when we're doing a business plan. Anybody wants to attempt? And again, I say, don't be shy. This is learning. Nobody here will look at you.
Thomas,
Go ahead.
the executive summary.
All right. Thank you very much, Vincent. Yes. Thank you very much, Vincent. And again, I said the executive summary is you prepare it in such a way. It is what if you have the opportunity to be in an elevator with somebody who can change the trajectory of your business, you can easily spell it out before you get to the top floor of the building or wherever the person is disembarking, and it entices them to read more. Like you take your business plan to the financiers, they get lots and lots of business plans. So you have to capture the essence and the spirit of your business in this executive summary. The other thing we spoke about a lot, and maybe that's why many of you are here, is challenges in writing a business plan. Anybody want to share the challenges they've gone through personally, or we just jump through that? All right, thank you. And you can always type your questions in the chat box. I think on my part, I can understand Swahili and English, irrespective of the dialect of English. So we are here to express ourselves. We're here to learn, right? And ask questions. So feel very free to write questions, ask the question. So we went through the challenges of putting together a business plan. And the challenges were many, but I'll not get into that. We'll also go into the benefits of a business plan, right? There are 6 main benefits. Anybody who can remember them? And if you can't, we always have Michael to remind us. Michael, if anybody doesn't remember, maybe you can juggle our memories.
Okay, is there anyone? Okay, one of the benefits of writing a business plan is that you minimize risk through the strategic planning. Business plan can reduce your risk if you have a risk management plan in place that will also guide your business, and it will also be a reference point whenever these risks occur. Another benefit was that a business plan can help improve operational clarity and efficiencies, because you have something that you put down, so the company will always look toward it, and it will guide you in your operation of the business. Another benefit of writing a business plan was that it helps to justify resource allocation. The next one was it helps support financial planning and risk management. Then we had it helps provide a comprehensive business insight, because in the business plan, you have your target clients, your market segment, the pricing strategy, competitive conditions, and all such information. Finally, it can help you enhance your funding opportunities. I know most of you are horticultural farmers and you may need finances to acquire this asset or this asset. So writing a business plan can help you get funding compared to those people who doesn't have a business plan. So those are the key benefits of the business plan that we learned in our last session. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else who might put in all these things are written down, but it's never cast in stone. Anybody else with an idea of how a business plan would help you? All right, I'll take silence to mean affirmation. We all agree with Michael. So the final thing we did under business plan is how to use a business plan to raise funds. Because again, we said the business is how the business is communicating. The business plan is how the business is communicating its idea to the outside world, the financiers out there, the potential partners, all these case stakeholders. We even talked about government. Sometimes government have subsidies, but they need to understand we are subsidizing this business, but are we aligned in our goals? So a business plan spells out the broad framework of how you as a business will carry on in a bid to run a business that is sustainable and that the funds that you raise will be safe. Without much ado, I want to jump into today's session. Now, today we are going to be actually building the business plans. Are you all ready? Is Mr. Ngure? Ngure, how are you?
Yes, I'm very fine. I'm very good. Yes,
All
I'm
right.
very ready. Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm seeing something here. Your meeting will end in 10 minutes. I don't know what's going on, but I'll find out. So let's carry on. So how do we build our business plan? Right? And this module will essentially cover three sequences. The first sequence will work on understanding the overall process of building a business plan. The second one will essentially tackle identifying the sources of information required for business plan writing. And the third one will be prepare a business plan using tools and templates provided. We have shared a few templates. Has anybody managed to go through the tools we have shared so far? We didn't want to load you with all the tools at one go. Anybody taken a look at those? Because I wanted you to be practical as we're talking. Think of your business and jot something down on your business in your own words. It is your business. You know it better than we do. So just a way to be as practical as possible in tackling this. So the first sequence, we spoke about this last time, but now we are going to go into deeper details. In this first sequence, we'll look at what each session includes. This is more of emphasis. And now you have your template in front of you. You can go ahead and start filling it out. So here we'll just be going through the sequences. I will jump over the executive summary because that's the last thing we do. When you have understood and put all your ideas together, and the executive summary is the part now you come to and unload all the details in a summation form, right? So we want to follow very, very practical steps, and that's why I asked you to print out those things. So this one is not school as usual anymore. This is school unusual. So let's try and be as practical as possible. I'll jump over this section. I'll swing back to it when we're done. So we'll start with the company description. And my work here today will be very easy. My work is just to jog your thinking into writing something down. And if I move too fast, please slow me down. So, company description. Describe your business background, history, and including your profile as a founder, if you're the founder. And if you're all following, if I move too fast, please tell me, ask again, but everything's up here. I'm not reading from anywhere. My work today is said is easy. So here you'll be talking about your company's history. You're trying to build up the momentum towards what you're looking to do with this business plan. Maybe you're looking to attract a new funder. Speaking his language, you know, this funder likes companies which do a certain thing. Try and adjust your story to fit what he or she is looking for. You're looking for a bank which you know is bent on helping women and youth. Just show how your company has integrated with women and youth projects. Basically, speak your business into the target audience you're looking for. The legal structure, right? What is your legal structure? Some of your businesses are sole proprietorships, some are partnerships, some are company limited by liability, all those different structures out there. So in here, you also show the ownership details, because sometimes if you have somebody with a positive track record, it gives a positive outcome to whatever decision the target audience will be making. So be very clear on this in defining the legal structure and understanding what you're looking for. The mission, vision, and values of your business, right? Doreen, we've been back and forth with you. Are you ready to speak a little bit? All right, Doreen is still not ready. Patience, we started early morning with you. Are you ready to speak a bit about your mission, vision, and values of your business? All right, just write them down. There's no problem. The other thing in this section is the location, facilities, and resources that you have in your business. Somebody is saying something? Yeah, the location, facilities. And again, write it down towards connecting with the target audience. If you know the particular bank has locations in the places your business operates, emphasize on this. If you know the funder, the funders, maybe they come from your area, emphasize on this, without being explicitly it's the area you come from. No, emphasize on anything that gives your business an advantage to the audience, state it here, right? So this also sets your company apart. Like I said, some of these people who make decisions are pumped with so many business plans. So you have to make sure that your business idea stands out. You have to make sure your business idea stands out. Michael. Just find out why it's telling me I have only 3 minutes left. I don't know what's going on with the Zoom.
Yeah, I was just about to notify you on that. Let me check.
All right. Or if it shuts us down, we can restart it again. Is that okay with you? Okay.
That will be.
Okay. So again, make sure that your company stands out, right? With location, with facility, with resources, connect with your audience. We jump to the next section, which is the market analysis. Over here, do your homework. Have you conducted a market research to identify trends and market opportunities? Suddenly, there are a lot of people who are fashionably eating mangoes. I like using mangoes because many people know about mangoes. Fashionably eating mangoes as puree, right? Or the juices. There's a trend, right? Pick that up and have the research or the data to show how this is sustainable. Analyze the target market and the customer segment. Again, we said your business should not speak to everybody. If you speak to everybody, you get nobody because there's competition out there. You have to really, really understand who you're targeting in terms of location, in terms of demographics, in terms of gender, right? You have to really, really be clear and you write it down so that it gives you an opportunity. If this didn't work out or this has worked out so well, I need more funds because I'm not hitting my targets. Or I need to pivot very quickly because I had done my analysis wrong. So be very, very clear on that. Competition. Last time somebody had asked me about SWOT and Pastel. This is where we're going to SWOT and Pastel. And for those of you who have accessed the TD.COLEAD training module, the Pastel is on page 47 of the training manual, and the SWOT is on page 50 of the training manual. So you can catch up with that there for finer details of what they're about. So you perform a SWOT: strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, analysis. And you have to be very, very honest with yourself because sometimes you can push yourself down too low or you push yourself up too high. You have to be very, very honest with yourself. And then determine the size of the market, competitors, and potential growth. Again, I like using the case of the football game. You might see there were a lot of customers this weekend, but they were just in town for the football game and then they disappeared. Apologies for that. Can you hear me? Apologies for that. Technical hitches. So where was I? We're talking about determining the market size and competitors and potential growth. Michael, we're good?
Yes, the others will be joining soon.
Okay, let me hold off until they rejoin again. All right, I think we are good to go now, Michael.
Yes.
All
Carry on.
right. All right. Thank you. So we are working on the market analysis. This one normally is, I can say, what makes us wake up in the morning, because a business without a market is not a business. A business without a market is what makes the business tick. And fundamentally, as business people, as entrepreneurs, as business managers, we have to really understand the market. The challenges with the market is so many dynamics play. The market keeps shifting. We have to know the size of the market we're focusing. We don't want to be short of product or have excess product chasing into the market. We also have to look at the competitors. Yes, competitors are twofold. They make our life a bit more difficult because they may be undercutting our prices, stealing our customers, or any other tactics out there. But competitors show us that we are in a valid marketplace, because they are also going through the same challenges you're going through. They also want to see you not doing so well so they can take a bit of that space. And then overall, we look at the potential for growth in this market, right? And I hope you're writing down in your templates, in your own words, my market size is X number of people, X number of tons a week. These are the competitors. I know company XYZ, I know company ABC, I know company XYZ. I know my competitors and I have identified this, but that now will get now analyzing deeper and we're doing our SWOT analysis, right? I hope you're writing down. That's why I'd ask you to download that thing in advance so that we are together. The potential growth. If you get into an industry and there's no growth, I think you're in a very precarious position, because you want the business to grow organically. And the best way to grow organically is if there's also a market that can grow. Say I get into an area and I'm selling mangoes, and this area I am in has 5 schools being built. So in about 2 years, the schools will have 200-300 students each. So as the schools are growing, I can see my market growing, growth potential, and identify what is encouraging your growth potential. This also has to be validated very strongly with data, right? Use real data. Don't use what your friend at the say the friend you hang out with tells you. From my part of the world, people know it all in so many things, and they have never done that business, right? Yeah, somebody will tell you that business is good. There's a market, but they have never done it. So don't be like some of my country people. Do your own market research, understand, and ask the questions to the right people. The next thing we move to is your product. Your product description. Write down what your various products are or services. If you have pictures, put them up, put them up there, right? If you have pictures, this is the product. I'm selling mango, I'm selling juice. Put the product up there. And how you expect it to be delivered to the customer. Is it peeled mangoes? Is it juice which is pressed into mango which is pressed into juice? Is it sometimes they have these mangoes they cut and add chilies in between? You know, be very visual about it, right? And then that builds into the next thing. This mango of mine, what is my unique selling preposition? Unique selling points. What differentiates me from the other people in the market? Maybe I have exclusivity in sourcing this from a particular farm, which is known to have certain qualities that customers desire. My mangoes have not used any chemicals. They have grown naturally, no chemicals, just all full natural. They come fresh. I harvest them and within 2 days, something unique, right, of the offering. And I hope we're writing this down as we move along. Now, pricing. This becomes very, very tricky. You don't want to price yourself too low. But you know why you're pricing yourself as the lowest. Maybe you have a low entry, a low price entry strategy where you have enough resources, you make your competitors drop their prices, or you kill off their businesses, and then you can dominate the market and push the price up. What is your pricing strategy? Sometimes when your price is so high, some people will say, yeah, I like this quality because the price is high, right? But you have to understand your position in the market. Again, write this down, right? Because very key when you know where your price, what your overall pricing strategy would be. As we move deeper into business, we get into intellectual property or patents, right? Does your current product offering, is it patented? And most importantly, if it is patented, who has the rights to that patent? You don't want to start your business and then 2 days later, somebody is shutting you down because they have a patent to that particular product. So you have to be very, very clear. Again, write this down, right? So the thing is, unique features, the benefits, and how they address the customer. All these should be working around how they address the needs of the customer. If you're not talking to the customer, you need a bit more homework. Any questions until there?
We have no question yet in the chat box.
All right. Okay. Sales, marketing and sales plan. Patience, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I've been seeing you've been very busy on the training module. Any challenges?
Not yet. I'm
All
really
right.
enjoying it. Remember, I told you that I'm still to start a business, so I'm following.
Yeah. Patience. Doreen, are you ready to speak now? All right. Marketing plan. Do you have a marketing plan to reach the target audience? And marketing essentially is not how you're going to move the goods to the customer, but how the customers are going to be aware that you exist in the market, right? That's the whole concept behind marketing. Making customers aware that Patience is now in the market, right? I'll just mention your name, Patience, because you said you're here to start a business. I'm just saying the marketing plan is the plan you'll make sure that your customers are aware you're in the market, because you bring your goods to the market and the customers are not aware. Even if you have the best goods in the market, will they move? No, it's a effort in futility. So first of all is developing the market plan, and in the next sequence we'll look at where you get the information on where you do the marketing plan from. But write down what plan you have in your own language. Identify the sales channel, right? Whether you're doing door to door, whether you're doing online, whether you're going to be waiting for them in the marketplace, whether you're going to export the goods, the sales channel has to be very, very clear. In the previous session, we talked about product description. Here again, we talk about pricing and distribution strategies, right? You have to be very sure when you're pricing, you have also thought of the cost of distribution. Sometimes we forget. You go to market X and you find the customer is this particular product is being sold for, I'll use the word dollars because I think that's universal. If I use shillings, I'll be excluding some people. You go to a market and you find this thing is priced at X dollars. And you think, wow, that market is great. But when you look at the distribution channels you're using, they're consuming all the money. You're just getting a small piece of that action if you eventually get there. So you have to understand your pricing, identify the pricing and distribution strategies. Promotional activities. We talked about marketing, creating awareness, right? So how will you promote your product in the market? Advertising. You're a startup. Will you start running to the television channels? Will you start running to the newspapers and putting big ads in the newspapers? You don't have the resources yet. Let's be honest, right? So what promotional activities will you be? And be humble about this. You might need to walk through the whole market on foot, not in a vehicle, on foot, because the resources are not there as you try and find how you'll reach your clients. Again, you can be speaking out there in the TV and your clients are all on radio. You see, you've already lost a big segment of whom you're attracting. Like this week, I had a very interesting engagement. You've seen this vehicle called Rolls-Royce. It's a very executive vehicle. And you'll be surprised. You'll never see an advert of Rolls-Royce in the newspaper. You'll not see them on TV. Guess where you'll see them marketing the Rolls-Royce? Surprise, surprise, at air shows, because that's where their customers are, right? So that's just understanding where your customers are and speaking to them in the language, in the place that they feel most comfortable. Under all this now, you have to set sales targets and projections, right? You have understood how your products will move through the whole process, the marketing plan, the channels, and the strategies around that. Sales targets, because if you don't hit certain targets, your project or your model or your business plan will not be feasible. This is where a lot of us make mistakes when we're doing business plan development. We show some very lofty projections, right? We show some very high targets. We have to be also realistic with yourselves. You have to work with what has happened in the past as an indication of what can potentially happen in the future, with maybe a little bit of effort added. Say you've been growing at 10%. Don't expect in the next quarter you'll grow by 100% unless you're doing something extremely exceptional. Maybe it can happen. Maybe you are being starved of funds, but there is indeed a market and you have proved. So whatever you do in projections, they have to be supported with assumptions, right? Because sometimes you're the right product, but you didn't have the funding to reach to maybe procure the product and sell, but you have the market, you have contracts sitting in front of you. That can be an aid in projections, right? So this is a roadmap that will help you sell your product successfully, right? So in summary, this will demonstrate how your business intends to market its product and services to clients. We are communicating with the person who are going to support your business plan. This is how I intend to do it. All your employees know this is the method we want to use because they've come from different places. Your suppliers know, take heart, we have a marketing plan. Our things will move this way. Any questions on that as I move on to organization and management plan? All right. Now this is where things start getting quite interesting. You have spoken about the company. Somebody wants to say something? Good morning, Mr. Gadi.
Good morning.
I saw you popping in early and then you popped out. You're good?
Yeah. There was some technical thing. Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Don't worry about it. It happens. Yes.
Yeah.
So, essentially, now all these things we've spoken about, the company, the market, the product, the marketing plan, right? It is run by people. Who are these people? You have to introduce them in their Sunday best. I don't know whether in your places you have what you call Sunday best. Those clothes that only worn when you're going to a very important place or to church, right? Bring them out in their cleanest format that aligns to the goals of who you're speaking to. And then define the organizational structure, right? How does the manager sitting at the top relate to the lowest cadre of employees? What's the relationship? How do they communicate? Right? That's a small organization structure. Your structure can even have one person. It is your business. There is no shame in that. But you have to have a structure showing you when maybe the resources are right, I plan to engage a marketing manager. When the resources are right, I plan to engage an accountant. When the resources are right, I plan to engage drivers. You know, it has to be there even if the positions are not filled, right? So it just defines that the organization has direction. It also talks to your employees to show them this organization of ours, because now it's ours, because one of you fails, you all fail. This organization of ours has career projections, has career moves you can make. There are positions that are destined, that have been planned for. So the business is saying, do your best and we'll get here. So draw your organization chart and just kind of show, even if positions are not filled, this person does this and does that, right? And define the relationship. As you're filling up these positions in the organizational chart, you need to also attract the right skills, right? Skills that are relevant. Say, for example, in your marketing and sales plan, you're planning to sell your things online, right? Do you think, again, in your organizational structure, you need somebody who has the right skills with selling online? You know, you get somebody who's used to selling in the market and then you take them online, he's a very good salesman, but in the wrong platform. He might not make it. So understand these skills, right? And it also helps the organization keep understanding in the future, these are the skills we'll be looking to add. Tendai, mute, please. All right. Did I mute myself? Can you hear me? All right. So you highlight the relevant skills and experiences that you need now, you need next year, you need next 2 years. That shows your organization has skill. It also forms a platform for even creating training programs. There's so many training programs out there. But if you don't know you need them in the organization, you'll never be attracted to them. You'll never send your people to them. So highlight the potential skills and experiences you need your people to have, right? Human resource, all this is about human resources. You have to show that you have a plan, right? And how will you retain the good people? Sometimes it's not money that retains good people. It's also how they're handled. So you mention, how will you look to retain the people? Maybe at one point you'll give them employee ESOPs, employee stock options. At one point you'll maybe increase pay. At one point you'll be giving them holidays in the sunny parts of the world. You know, have a plan and mention this, right? And again, this goes hand in hand with maybe having a human resource manual, which is a separate document. And especially if you're dealing with big tenders, you need a human resource manual just to show that you're aligned and you're in compliance with the labor laws. In horticulture, there are all these fair trade, right? Some of these things will help you, and you pick from your human resource manual and you add to show how you're complying with fair trade objectives, right? There's also GAP. There are all these regulations around horticulture, how you use chemicals, how you treat people, how you detect. So how do you manage the human resource component, right? And in summary, you'll be introducing the key members of your team and their roles, just the key members, not everybody, key members only. But again, you'll show your hiring plan for the whole organization, training program, either internal or the training programs you'll be looking for, and the strategies that you will be using to retain the employees. I hope I'm not moving too fast for those who are writing down. I said today my work is just to inspire you to now begin putting your business plans together. Any questions until there?
I have no questions to the chat box yet.
All right, thank you, Michael. After you know who your people are, we have to figure out how they'll work together to make the magic happen. Farming methods, not all of you are in production horticulture. You're in different parts of the value chain in horticulture. But for just this, we are trying to use farming methods to make it as practical as possible. You have to define your farming methods, your production methods, the techniques, the technologies, right? The equipment you have, the resources you have, the land that is available either directly for you or into the future, right? In horticulture, again, very importantly, you need a production schedule. Those of you, especially in export, normally you sell your product or you market your product before you have actually planted. You say in this season, I'm going to be exporting to you 5 tons of product, and you've not even planted, but it's part of your production plan, right? For purposes of just being, what can I say, retaining the vitality of the soil, you show your crop rotation plan where applicable. I do the legumes to return the oxygen, and then I do this and that and that. So have a clear projection plan. And this one is time bound. This month to this month, this is what I'll be doing. This month to this month, this is what I'll be doing. This month, the land rests. This plot rests. This one is in production. Equipment and machinery required. And maybe this is where you need your financing. Maybe you want to buy new processing equipment. You have to have that in place under your operational plan. So if it lacks, you figure out how to mitigate what's lacking. And then with any farming, supply chain becomes very, very important, right? You can be looking to get some seeds from a certain company. So you have to time it well when the seeds are available, when the seedlings are available, because some of these things also are available seasonally. You have to really plan that into your production. You don't want, you have all these employees on site and you can't get seedlings. What will they do for the next 3-4 months? And the basics do not work. Or one of your suppliers failed you. You're getting some seeds from abroad and they failed to bring the seeds. And if they don't bring the seeds, the whole operation fails. So how have you planned this? With mitigation, right? Again, I say mitigation because in agriculture, no 2 days are ever the same. Sometimes it can be very slow, but no 2 days there's always a surprise. And hopefully a good surprise, like a bumper crop. So you have to plan that. operations. When we get to harvesting, how will I move my product out of the production area, maybe to processing, right? Now, when it is processing, who is going to process? These are the staff who are going to process. Are they processing? How am I monitoring their processing? How will I monitor? Because sometimes it's very labor intensive and you want the people in at the right time. Today, I want 50 people in processing. Are they all there? And especially if you're doing export, you want them to be in a certain state of health. Have you checked that they're all healthy? Because it can make your whole crop be rejected. Even for the local markets, we need to start employing some of these standards. So you need to understand all the components in operations and write them down. And you know your business better. I will not write for you. So write them down. Patience, you can write your hypothetical case for now without pressure. Write your hypothetical case, but write it down, because you'll be looking at this thing 1 week from now and you'll be saying, wow, I was a genius. You'll be finding yourself a genius. And then when a situation comes about, you'll be able to mitigate it. Now, in summary, this section will describe the operation process from seed or from farm to fork, from seed to product, as detailed as possible. Words cannot be enough, but what you can understand. Daily operations, seasonal operations, annual operations. Describe them in detail. Facilities, equipment, technology, right? And you know, with agriculture, Michael, the problem is coming up again. So it will be shutting us in 10 minutes and we'll restart again. I'll contact the training team for that. Can you hear me?
Yes, okay.
All right, all right.
Mm.
So with operations, especially in horticulture, you have to be very, very tight on this, very clear. All members of your team are on top of operations, because if you fail in operations, all the other things are meaningless. And agriculture sometimes can be unforgiving, but at the same time, it can be very lucrative if it's done right. Good morning, Filippo. How are you? Filippo, how are you?
Ish, I'm okay.
All right.
Yeah, how about you?
I'm fine. I noted you came in a little late, but the train has already moved, but we won't leave you behind.
All right.
So I hope you are writing down as we are speaking, because now we are being very, very practical in approach.
I am, yeah.
Please do. And relate this to your business. Don't relate it to Thomas's business. Relate it to your particular business, your particular situation, right? So like I was talking about horticulture being very unforgiving. A small disease comes from wherever, wipes you out after your crops were just ready for harvest. Or the moment you have just sold to man X, you hear that the prices in a market Z are double what you've just been paid. Right? It happens. Or that's why you have to have a lot of information about horticulture, the weather information. You have information, but in the next session we'll be covering specific places where you can get information that would cover these portions of the business plan. Any questions until there? All right, great. Michael? Okay. Moving on. Financial needs and projections. Again, the fundamental, or many times people do a business plan, the whole goal is to raise funds, to speak to the financiers, right? Those are the ones who require this business plan most of the times. And that's why you find many times you're struggling with this. The bank doesn't want to give me money without this, or this investor doesn't want to engage with me before I've given them a business plan. But let's go about it. We are here to solve problems. So the first thing is to prepare projected financial statements, right? The income statement, what is called the P&L, profit and loss statement. The balance sheet, which shows you the assets and liabilities, which shows you ownership of the business. Who owns the business? Is it you or the bank? It's normally seen in the balance sheet, right? Cash flows. Yes, the income statement is showing profits, but you have cash, right? Because sometimes the income statement will show you paper profits, but cash, there is nothing in your bank. So that is captured in the cash flows. So these three have to be married together. And the general practice is to show maybe three past and three forward projections, three past performances and 3-year projections. That's the common practice, right? So how do you even go about this? Everything starts with revenues, right? There's what you've been selling, how you've been performing in the past, your sales, how you've been performing in the past. And then based on the information you have from your market analysis and the prices you see in the future, you can estimate what the future sales and revenue will be, right? Maybe the price will increase. Maybe it will reduce. Sometimes you don't know the future. Maybe your product output will increase because, yes, there's a crop you have put on the ground, or there is a plot of land you have added into your production. And based on that, and based on the market, your revenues will increase. People in Zimbabwe, how are you? There's something I saw yesterday or this morning. Anybody from Zimbabwe? Filippo? Zimbabwe or Malawi? All right. Yeah. I saw something about Zimbabwe and they were talking about changing the currency again. So that's information you need to take into consideration when you're doing your estimate sales and revenues, right? Because maybe you're running on this currency, it's been over devalued, you have to switch to the next currency. But again, it's very interesting to hear from people of Zimbabwe how they've been managing this with all the volatility. Yeah, we can learn a lot from them. Okay, moving on. Forecast. Expenses. Again, we start with what has happened in the past. I was paying my employees at this rate, and I had five times the rate I've been paying them with maybe a small annual increment, cost of living. I was buying fuel at this much. I was buying seeds at this much. I was using this much for marketing and other costs. So you take what has happened in the past and just project, and they kind of go in tandem with sales and revenue, but not on a one-to-one increase. Ideally, the expenses should not expand as fast as the sales and revenue when we're doing our projections. Break-even point and return on investments. Who is familiar? Who can explain these two terms in their own language? In their own understanding, not language, understanding. What is break-even point and what is return on investment? Okay, I'll just put it out there. Our break-even point is what I'd call the inflection point, where your expenditures match your revenues. You're not making a loss anymore. Many of you who have been in business, you know, maybe a product, you have maybe to start it slowly into the market, ease it into the market. You start maybe selling at $1, $1, $1, $2. So the point at which it's no longer making loss, that's what I would consider the break-even point, where it's sustainable. Our return on investment on the other side is if you put in money into your business, how much is that initial investment coming back, or how long will it take to come back to you or come back? Return on investment. You don't want a business you put in money and it never returns the investment. So this has to come out very clearly, because if you are attracting investors, they want to know what the return on investment would be, so that they can compare mangoes to mangoes. They can compare, if I put my money into a bank, I put my $10 into a bank, how long will it take for me to get my $10 back in return? Same with your business. How much profit are you making? Return on investment, right? But this is over time. Some can say, how much will I get back over a year? How much will I get over 10 years? But this has to be brought out in your business plan. We have less than a minute, and then we are cut off, and then we jump back again. I'll apologize. I've not found out what is going on. So as I wrap up this session in the next 40 seconds, this particular part, we need to develop a comprehensive plan that includes these three elements: income statement, cash flow.
Okay, so you're good to go.
Good to go. Okay. Okay. Is there a question on financial needs? Because all these things tie into each other, and most of the time we're raising money is because of bringing out the financial needs of the business. All right. We move on. Risk management plan. In all these things, we talked about risk. Right? When we talk about our market, there's a risk. Product, there's a risk. Employees, there's a risk. So how do we go about this? First of all, write down the potential risks and challenges. And there is no right way to write it down. Write what you think is a potential risk and a potential challenge to your business. And then on that list, you've written down the risks and challenges. Maybe write what is the probability between 1 and 10, with 10 being the highest probability and 1 being the lowest probability. What's the probability of this risk or challenge afflicting your business? And then again, 1 being the highest impact and 10 being the highest impact and 1 being the lowest impact. Grade this risk or challenge. What would be devastating, with 10 being the most devastating and 1 being the least devastating for each of the potential risks you have identified. After you have all that aligned, what are the risk mitigation strategies and plans you have? Maybe we have been too quiet. Vincent, how are you?
Yes, Thomas.
Yes, from what we have written, can you share with us one risk that you have seen that you have to watch out for as a business? For your business, not as a business, for your business.
I think I think it's also contextual. For example, in Malawi is currency fluctuations. Number two, foreign exchange issues. Number three, pests and diseases. So just from a business.
All right, just taking one of these, let's take currency in Africa, currency fluctuation is a daily problem. So let's just take one, maybe currency fluctuation. Let's take that as a good example. In a scale of 1 to 10, what is the possibility of it happening on a scale of 1 to 10 in your case of your business?
9.
9?
Yes.
The kwacha is that volatile?
We in the last year we have lost 135% value of the kwacha.
Oh, even the shilling got hit quite hard last year.
So
yeah, 135. Whoa, that is steep.
Oh yeah,
That
it
is
is.
steep. That is steep. Okay, that is quite steep. Now, you've given 9 as the probability of it continuing to happen. Now, in a scale of 1 to 10, what is the impact of this on your business on a scale of 1 to 10? Did it impact just a little bit because maybe your business is local? Did it impact a lot because you have to import a lot?
It affects planning. Yeah, in terms of inputs, you can't plan because inputs this month are like this. In the next 6 weeks, you go to buy them, they've gone up by 20%.
Wow.
So planning, it makes planning very, very hard.
And your customers are still expecting to buy goods at the same price.
Yes, that's number one. Number two is the pricing of the produce. Is also fluctuating.
Wow. It's tough. It makes planning very difficult. It makes planning very difficult. Now, still on the same, and I'll still be on you, Vincent, because you have very good examples. Now, you said it affects planning. So how have you been mitigating this risk of currency fluctuation? How have you been working along with it?
I think one is bulk buying of inputs, yes. Because you don't know what tomorrow brings.
Okay.
Number two, avoiding forward contracting.
Okay.
With especially the buyers, the big buyers.
Okay.
Because having a forward contracting, then I will operate in a loss because the price I've charged them this month will be invalid in the next 6 weeks or in the next 2 months.
That quick.
Yeah.
And I'm just still on the same point. What if instead of invalidating or getting out of the forward contract, you have a clause in the contract which allows, because they are also in the same market, allowing some bit of fluctuation even in the price they pay you, just to based on the future, because losing that big market again is very, very painful.
Yeah, the best actually, which I've tried with one, is to quote in dollar.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, they are based out of Malawi.
That's a hedge. Yeah.
They're based out of Malawi.
No, in Malawi, but to quote in dollar, which of course most refuse, so that even when the kwacha fluctuates, because the dollar price still remains the same.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one. I think we dealt with one client who accepted that, but most refused. They said no quotas in kwacha.
Wow. Now when you
It's
start trading,
hedging.
Hedging, yeah. They are also in the market. They are and this is just, I'm just broadly sharing just to add on what Vincent has done. In the market, there are instruments you can use against currency hedging, where you buy the instrument and you can use it to acquire the dollar, or you can use it to acquire certain currency. There are all these currency hedging products out there, in especially the more developed markets. So they are out there. And thank you very much, Vincent. That's very enlightening that it's happening in Malawi, that you can get into contracts of this nature. So you've seen there, assess the probability and the potential impact, and then develop risk mitigation strategies, right? Most importantly, put it in your business plan, because we're developing the business plan so that even the ones behind you, your successors, your partners can see the whole idea behind the plan, and they can take cognizance that it is a forward-thinking plan. The other thing is compliance with relevant laws and regulations, right? Good morning, Tendai.
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
I'm fine. Remind me where you are.
I'm in Zimbabwe.
Ah, Zimbabwean. I was looking for a Zimbabwean. Where were you hiding?
No, our signal was poor earlier this morning.
No problem, no problem. But you're here with us. So, I was talking about risk mitigation, and I think Vincent covered a lot on currency, because I thought Zimbabwe was the poster child for currency, which fluctuates a lot. And this morning I saw some
That is
news
true.
that they're proposing to start a new currency tender. New currency in Zimbabwe. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you a question on compliance, risk mitigation.
Sure.
When you're in the horticulture space, there are a lot of compliance issues and laws, how you treat your employees, right?
Yes.
Yes. So how would you put that to make sure that it's a risk you have seen coming? But do you have any risk in regards to compliance on your end? And you can choose to answer or not. This is an open talk. Do you have any potential
All right.
risks with compliance? Yes.
Is it specifically regards to the workers?
No, any aspect of your business. You're free to talk about anything in your business. You're open. It's not
Okay.
tying you down anywhere. So, but something practical to your business.
Okay. Maybe just the first point on the comment you made about the new currency, they've already launched it locally. But yeah, there's still issues there. Then regards to compliance, yes, there are areas where there's potential to not be compliant. Yeah, you find, say, specific chemicals maybe are not allowed, but at times you have products that are prescribed, perhaps they're not readily available. And you find, okay, for us, I think where we've had an external auditor come in in the organic space. So we're actually quite grateful. We managed to be certified as compliant, and we can export now. So it's I think also changing regulations as you know, people are becoming more and more inquisitive about how their food is grown and so on. So there are areas where if you are not up to date, you can fall out of compliance. You know, especially around the chemicals you use, perhaps how you transport the produce from the fields, if it's going to the airport and beyond that, and all the health and sanitation things you have to be aware of. Then you have also regulatory requirements, the certificates and paperwork that is required before you can export. So if you're not up to speed on all those requirements, you can easily fall out of compliance.
Yes, thank you very much, Tendai. Because again, the painful thing about horticulture is you can do everything right and you fail to comply with one little thing and you get total loss. You have exported your crop maybe to Europe or wherever, and the crops get there, get drug tested, and you're using the wrong chemical. So that also has to be reflected in your business plan. Total loss, 100% plus the airline ticket you've paid for the cargo ticket, shipping, you've paid for your cargo. So it's very high risk, but you've had, like Tendai has told us, this is how he mitigates it. He brought in an external auditor who is certified, and it gives the market assurance. So he has mitigated that law. He's on top of whatever laws and regulation. You read widely, read in your market to mitigate that, right? So all these are in there. Any questions until there as we jump into now the appendix and then we go to executive summary? All right. The appendix section essentially is just where you put all the supplementary material. Again, there you can't put everything into the main document. You know, like you're talking about your company description. Maybe you show the certificates that support what you have asserted in the appendix section. But again, it depends with the audience, right? You don't want to put your title deed there and the audience, the title deed is not relevant to them. So you put whatever relevant supporting documentation that is in the other section, the market analysis that talks to the particular audience this business plan is going to. Maybe it is for you, maybe it is for your inheritors as a business. They know where their business stands, right? So I'll not dwell so much on this. I'll quickly go back to the section on the executive summary, and then we can go to sources of information. Okay. Now that we have covered all these number 1 to 10, we go to the executive summary. With the executive summary, you'll essentially be going and picking up key points from each of these other sections and show how each section is married to each other, right? And I hope you're doing it from your end as we are speaking. You go back, pick something from company, describe in 1 or 2 lines. We want your executive summary to be something you can pitch before the lift gets out of the first floor to the top floor of that building or wherever the person you're speaking to is getting out. You want to hold their attention and grab it and entice them to say, before you exit here with me, let's sit down for coffee. Let us discuss the rest of the document. It has to be very enticing. So in this, you will overview of the goals. Very clear. My goal of my business is. My goal of my business, but don't write the goal of my business is to make me and my family rich. No, something that talks to the audience. My goal of my business, and these are my objectives. These are the key elements. These are the key elements of my business plan. State them in summary form. This is my market. And this is my competitive advantage. This is what I do best. I'm the best person in organic production. I'm the best person in this because of this. Don't just say it with facts and refer to the appendix where you maybe won a few awards or something like that, right? And then finally, we are looking for money, the projections. In very simple terms, one, two-liner, sales, revenues. This is how they're going to move from this is where we are, this is where we are heading, and this is where we intend to be. 1, maximum 2 pages. Sometimes this summary is difficult to put together, but with practice, it becomes easier. You can even do it just before the meeting. With practice, it becomes easier. I want to jump to the next section, the second sequence of this, which is now where we get the information of all these things we've been talking about. This one, I will keep it as short as possible because we have covered a lot of this in the session. So in general, where do we get our information from? The research papers, we've been saying all pieces of information, it has to be from a credible source. It has to be from somebody that the audience believes in. So examples here are local and trade business. Somebody who is very experienced in this business, he's an authority. Online databases, but again, online has a lot of things which may not be verified, so be careful with that. Blogs, everybody has their truth, but again, people who are kind of certified, who the market believes in. Again, that goes with social media and online reviews. Trade fairs and conferences. Again, these are people marketing their things, but there are organizations out there which work to certify some of these common sources of information in these trade fairs. Right. So section by section, executive summary, where do we get the information? The internal company data, the research reports, customer feedback and testimonials, the trends and forecasts from reputable sources, and information from key members and stakeholders. About the company, again here, company records and internal documents, websites and marketing material, financial statements and performance reports, interviews with key people in the organization, and research data about the company's industry and marketing position. And you can stop me, some comments out there was saying sometimes my English is too much. Please stop me when I speak too much English. Feel free to slow me down. Market analysis. Where do we get this information from? The reports and studies, they're out there. Again, blogs, periodic papers, government papers. Especially in some countries, the government is very active in making sure that there is relevant market information, right? Competitor analysis. Again, your competitors won't always tell you the truth. Sometimes they hide a little bit, but there are all these industrial publications that come out as competitors are also looking for an angle somewhere, so they publicize their information. You can get that there. Focus groups. Sometimes there are all these industry forums that are called about, where focus groups are formed, and you can get feedback, both from customers, from competitors, from suppliers. These surveys, these trade shows, you get a lot of feedback. And then again, there are trade associations and industrial experts out there, who are very invaluable in providing credible information. But again, in this age of information, there is very high likelihood of getting too much information. So we also have to apply personal filters to understand what's legitimate, what's following up, and what's not worth following up. So where do we get information about our product, right? Of course, there's specifications, maybe the persons who gave us the seeds, technical documentation that came maybe with the product, feedback, customer feedback. But you must make sure the customers are the right customers, because if you sold to the wrong customer, of course, he'll give you negative review. These mangoes of yours are too sweet. These mangoes of yours are too juicy. Again, customer feedback based on the fact that you're reaching the right customer. Competitor product information. Yes, there's competitors out there. The information is out there because no competitor hides their product. You can actually go and buy your competitor's products out there in the market. So you'll be able to understand and study it and figure out how it's different from yours. Suppliers, people who supply you, people you supply, the vendors, the people who sell to you forward. You know, like if you're an export, there's the exporter who takes it and distributes to customers. That constant feedback. Is the leaf color right? Is the production quantity right? Is all these things. They can easily give you if you ask, but you have to ask the right questions. Again, I had spoken earlier about patents and trademark information. Not everybody is applicable. And sometimes you may have a product and you're just marketing it and you realize you don't own the trademark. This is, especially in the more litigious societies, this can be a very sticky issue. So make sure you know any product or information out there. Yeah, even seeds. You can find you propagating somebody's seeds, second generation seeds, and because you didn't have authorization, you land in trouble. So that's something you need to understand very carefully and act accordingly. When we come to market, right? Where do we get the information from? Market research and data analysis. Again, we'll go back to the trade fairs, we'll go back to past performances, we'll go back to the teams of people who come to work for us. Maybe you get a salesman, what have you been doing? This research, maybe he comes in as part of his interview. These are some of the things you take as you're trying to understand how your things will move. Marketing strategies and plans, we wrote them down, right? This one you formulate, and there's no one size fits all formula. Every enterprise is unique. You've been having sales report. I mean, record keeping is essential in any business. It's the cornerstone of knowing that whether your business is going down or it's prospering. So sales reports have to be very good. Sales projections. You want to allocate resources to take product to a certain area, right? What projections have you been using? Or you just say, pick up Z, go to section Y. There has to be a basis for allocating resources to a certain activity, right? So projections are, that's where the projections come in. And those are records which go into the business plan. Customer acquisition and retention data, right? I think it's Vincent who told us about, no, it's Tendai who told us about how customers behave, how maybe oh yeah, it was Vincent. The Kwacha is misbehaving, and yes, you have this customer, and this is what the customer wants, but their business is not so good. So you need all that about a customer, what they want, what they need. How will you retain them? How many customers have you been retaining historically? Right? How many customers have you been training historically? How many customers have you been acquiring historically? What's the pace? What's the volume they're giving you, volume of business? That type of data will help you put together your marketing plan. And now this informs the advertising and promotion material. Depending on who your customers are or how you intend to reach them, you'll know what type or what level of resources you'll deploy. Will you be reaching them out through trade shows? Will you be reaching them out through flyers, word of mouth, salesmen, door-to-door campaigns? Right. How will you be reaching your customers? So you need to keep understanding these things, that the information you get has to be relevant to whom you intend to reach. Again, that's bottom line. It is the audience. Management. Yes, the people who are working in your organization, the first day they come with your CVs and all the good things. And just keep in mind, you have to keep them updating their CVs maybe every so often, because they have taken a course out there, they have upgraded their skills out there. There's a training they have undertaken which they need to add to that. So keep their CVs constant. You have the organization chart we had discussed earlier. So with the organization chart, this is also another living document. There's the organization chart on one side, and there is the job descriptions on the other side. The organization chart may not be filled up with all the positions, but the job descriptions remain, because at one point as a growing organization, I'll need an extra salesman. This is what they'll be doing. I'll need an agronomist. This is their job description, right? Employee records and qualifications. Again, I hit it out in the first point, where you have to keep their records constantly updated. And then again, industry benchmark for key management positions. Different industries have their star players, right? So these star players kind of set the rhythm. This star player went maybe did a certain course, right? So an organization like mine, to be recognized out there, I need employees who have a certain course in their resume, right? What positions are needed in a certain organization? Like, I'm an agricultural producer, I have outgrowers, I need agronomists full-time working for me. I need quality control managers in my processing facility. I need the auditors, like Tendai told us, I need the auditors to constantly look through my records to make sure I'm in compliance. So Michael, you still there?
Yes, I'm on.
And if you see any questions, please slow me down. Slow me down. I've gotten my 10-minute warning, so we'll have to restart in a few. But don't worry, we have 7 minutes. Operation plan. Right? Operation, how does the organization move around? Where do you get information about your operation plan? Again, first of all, when you're still early, patients, when you're still early, you kind of follow what's commonly done in the industries, right? Look at their reports. How do they do successful operation before you start your own, right? So when you get into it, now you'll have your own data so that you can make your own decisions on how you want your operation to run, right? Because again, data is key. So even if you're starting small, keep data. Even if it's 2 pieces of record a day, keep data, keep costs. Even if costs are escalating, like you live in Malawi, keep your record. Don't worry about it. Things will pan out. Delivery timelines. How long does it take each process to be covered? How long do I take for my tractors to go through this piece of land, right? How long do I take for my products to come from the outgrowers to my facility, or from my facility to the airport, right? This is small pieces of data that eventually add up, and they show us where we'll tighten the noose. If the lorry was taking 3 hours to come, maybe I need a new lorry, or I need a new source of material, or maybe the tires in the lorry are worn out. So many things, and it all comes down from data. Let's make our organization data rich. It might sound irrelevant, but at one point it will come in. So we get this data is what we'll use when we're putting together a business plan. And like we said, a business plan is a living document, nothing set in stone. It keeps changing depending on who you're talking to. Technology, the other big animal. Today you are spraying with the boom sprayer. Very soon, guys are moving to drones. I have seen drones spraying all over the place. Before, we used to have planes, especially on the big farms. Now technology is changing. The planes are even being monitored by satellites. So technology is changing. Operations, I'll be getting my satellite feed at a certain time and my planes take off at a certain time, right? To optimize my application of, say, pesticide, or to know where my farm has been infested by certain things, right? So all this come into play into the business plan. You have to put them down and note these are source. Competitors. Yes, I like advocating for running your race like a racehorse. You know, they cover the sides of the eyes and just run straight. But it's good to throw your eyes on what the competitors are doing. They may have some an innovation they've come up with, right, that will make even your own operations more efficient. Throw your eyes, dart your eyes across and understand what they're doing. Study them. That's an important source of information. Maybe there's a regulation that has come in and it has passed your team. Study what the competitors are doing a little bit and figure out why they are doing it. Don't just copy and paste. No. Understand why they are doing it and take it and move with it. Financial needs. Where do we get information on the financial needs? We started with the projections that you had made earlier. And then we go into the details of the required and be very, very specific. If it is a machine, if it is a tractor, I want a John Deere certain model. Be very, very specific in what you want, right? This is like those Christian prayers where they say, ask and it shall be granted, but you have to be very, very specific, right? Financing options, right? There are many financing options out there. Figure out which works best for you. Maybe for capital items, you don't want to go for short-term loans. Capital items, you want a long-term, which eases you into it. Sometimes some short-term loans are very expensive or they are cheap until you have to pay back very quickly, which hurts your cash flows. So understand who you're talking to, right? So get the right information on the options out there. Study your investors' presentation. You know, the investors out there, we are looking for A, B, C, D. Study it and mirror it to what you're trying to do. You want A, B, C, D. So this is how I'm going to comply with A, B, C, D so that you can fund me as an investor, right? If I don't comply, you won't fund me. That's an important source of information, especially globally on the whole business plan, so that you can speak their language, right? It's about speaking their language. Financial statements. This is something you need to have constantly, quarterly, monthly, weekly. You know, at least income statement. Cash flows, all the time you have to have a cash flow running for past periods and a little bit of projections, right? Market research to support your revenue forecast. Again, this goes to the market analysis you did in number 3. Now, market research data is now where you attach the data you got in the analysis with the numbers. So have that, so that if you say I'm going to move from 1 ton of production to 1.5 tons, what's the financial impact of this from an expense point or also from a revenue point, right? Which also ties down with the next point, which is sales strategy and expense estimate, right? Don't go too much out of the industry benchmarks because sometimes the industry has seen it all. So when you're doing expenses, don't be looking like you're the one who is running the most expensive enterprise in terms of expense or the cheapest. It will raise a lot of questions. So you have to stay within the benchmarks. But maybe you have an innovation and that's why it stands out. You've been able to cut your cost. Again, economic and industrial trends. We talked about currency fluctuation. We have less than a minute, it will drop, but we'll load them right again. We have industrial trends that can impact financial projections. So study this. How is our shilling doing? How is our kwacha doing? How is our dollar doing? Let's study this so that we can put this when we're doing our financial projections. When we resume, I'll talk about risk management and then we can start wrapping up. Michael, if you see any questions, please raise Ali. It's telling me less than a minute.
Okay, noted.
All right. The last few minutes before we give up on technology, let's give the others 2 minutes to join. Then we can do the last.
At 80%. Onions, 10 kgs, yes. Dani. Koro wamiye nengo daktari chako somo na nengo mkubwa. 48. Sawa sawa. Mana kwa nyalo kujo ni rabuon.
All right. One final last push. And then if it kicks us up, we will have finished today's session. Michael, any questions you can see out there, even on the WhatsApp platform?
Yeah, so far in the WhatsApp platform, we have no one active at the moment.
Okay.
And yeah, we have no question at the moment.
All right. All right. Okay. So we have just covered what we need, where we get sources of information when we are dealing with the financial needs and projections. Now, we go about risk because everything is about risk. So where do we get information on risk when we're doing financial business plan writing? When you're doing the business plan writing? First, we go back and examine the historical data of past issues within the organization. That data you collected, those employee letters, maybe the union wrote to you, maybe the crop that was rejected after you have exported. All this is historical data, right? Past issues, vehicles breakdown, farms being afflicted by certain diseases, all these things. But let me not scare you from horticulture. It can be quite lucrative if it's done right, right? So we go through all those historical records and understand them and figure out these are the risks. And then we can, you remember the exercise we did earlier where we looked at two fundamental things, the probability of it happening and the probability of it having and the level of impact it has on our business so that we can assess the risk. We go and look at industry experts. There are so many industry experts out there. There are so many industry experts out there, but it is hard to differentiate the quacks because there are those who are considered quacks and those who are genuinely experts in the industry, right? But as our economies are advancing, we are getting spoiled for choice. And you can also review and understand whose advice should I take and whose should I not take, right? But everybody has something they can add to the pot. So these experts, go ahead. These experts will be able to advise on the regulatory risk, especially regulatory. With the regulators, they can stop a whole industry from exporting. So these are the professionals you need to keep in touch with when you're developing your business plan so that they can tell you these are the potential risks. This has happened in the past in the industry, or it looks like it's going to happen, and this is how you can mitigate it. And then you develop what we were working, scenario analysis for different outcomes. If I do this, this is what will happen. If I do this, this is what will happen. And of course, do not forget when you're assessing your risk or getting information on risk, your employees They know a lot about your business. You've been with this person for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. This is a brother, this is a sister. And you're not together because they don't have options of where to go. There's something positive. So they can also tell you, I've seen this happening before in this business. Let's watch out here. Your partners have invested in this. Let's manage this risk together. So those are important sources of risk information. Now, the final one is the appendices. We talked about appendices. So essentially, this is just all the supporting documents that may not be added into the main document. The main document, it is written down. And the appendix is just, it's written down, refer to this document. This is my company description. This is the legal whatever. This is where appendix, this ascertains that it is indeed what my company is about. The legal documents, suppliers, vendors agreements, contracts, market research, all whatever you need to support whatever you have said in the business plan. So these are final tips when you're getting information for a business plan. I can't overemphasize the importance of using data that is trustworthy, right? Trust is everything in business, but who do you know is talking the right thing? They even fake websites these days. So that's a bit of homework to do. Is the data trustworthy? Trends and patterns. Again, even in your own documents, you will see the trends and patterns in your data sets, right? A major mistake we make, we say correlation means causation. Sometimes you spot a pattern in your data, and then you immediately assume this is caused by this. I know sometimes we have that, make those mistakes, but sometimes situations are just a coincidence that they happen that way. Comparing your current data against past performance. Again, you cannot come from moving in, what's the smallest vehicle in the market right now? A Probox, Toyota Probox, to moving into a Mercedes-Benz in just one swing. I mean, there's a problem there. Already you're not used to. So it is possible, but current data, you're on Probox, and then you suddenly move into Mercedes-Benz. You're not used to that, or it will bring issues. So it's a gradual flow from the past to the current to the future. There has to be a correlation. And again, this is supported by the documents you have supporting in your appendix. Look at industry benchmarks. The industry, they've been there forever, unless it's a very new industry. So you'll find all these statistics there for your industry, depending on your country, even internationally. Horticulture is international, yes. It may be done in this country or that country, but more or less production is universal. Standards are universal. Quality issues are universal. So the industry benchmarks will help a lot. As we wrap this session, I just want you to have this in mind. What steps can you take to leverage existing information as you gather information for your business plan? Does the information used to build your business plan need updating? We talked about those small pieces of data you keep taking. They will come into play. those updates from your CVs for your staff, they'll come into play. Those trainings you have undertaken, they'll come into play. You're sharpening the knife, right? Identify which needs updates, and then take the steps and do it regularly. That consistency makes the process of business plan development quite less, what do they say? Much less as not a chore, but as something. It also makes you think about your business in different light. And until there, I can close the session for today. And I'll just direct you to resources out there. These are YouTube videos, business life cycle, and the company life cycle model, practical examples. The tools you have, I sent you out 2 tools for the business plan template and a kind of guide for the business plan. I will be sending you another template where you can put in the financial material. I did not want to send everything to you in one torrent. So we'll be sending the financial template probably tomorrow. Mike, tomorrow, eh?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we have it. We can send out tomorrow. And we are still available as much as the official sessions are over. We are still available for anybody who'd like to engage on a one-on-one on an aspect that is giving them a hard time. We want everybody to understand this and to make it as part of your processes, especially when you're accessing funding. Because this is where many people get stuck. Your idea is brilliant, everything is brilliant, but the business plan part puts you off completely. Final comments from the audience as we wrap this up. All right, Michael, any comments or closing remarks?
Okay. I just want to give a closing remark.
All right.
To our participants. I believe this is our last webinar, and I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you who has joined us today, and even from the start of this webinar. Your participation, engagement, and insightful contributions have enriched our discussion on this topic of business plans. I'd also like to express my deepest appreciation to our speaker, Mr. Thomas, for sharing his expertise and wisdom, who has guided us through the valuable insights that will make an impact in our endeavors and even in the future. So a special thank you to you, audience, for your active involvement, your questions, your enthusiasm. Your presence has made this webinar a success. Without you, we could not have made this, and we appreciate your presence. So I believe as we carry on, let us make sure that we cultivate this learning and make sure that our enterprises develop and also take 1 or 2 from these sessions. I wish you all a success and fulfillment in your journey ahead. Till we meet again, stay passionate. See you all next time. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Welcome, Mr. Haitano.
Yes, Auntie.
Yeah, we can also link in the WhatsApp group. You can share network with other entrepreneurs. Share.
Excellent. All right.